Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome back to Focus on You. Uh, 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 uh.
Ah, oh, my
You
hair's
like
on
that? You
fire
like
again.
that? Do you like that? That was my country song for Focus on You.
My mom had said if I don't have anything nice to say, I probably grew up in the Bronx.
That's not a good thing, man. That's really not a good thing. You got to stop broadcasting that stuff. All right, welcome back to Focus on You with Phil and Oscar. I am Phil. That is Oscar. Maybe we should switch places. Ta
There you
da!
go.
And we have a guest that is on today. She was on our Power Up Breakfast, Miss
Great power of
Claudia
breakfast.
Marulanda, and she is amazing, amazing guys. It was a great presentation today, and we have her as our guest today, so you can get to know her just a little bit better. We have had her on before, and it was a great program. Today is going to be an amazing, amazing experience. So, without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our brother Oscar here, and he's going to talk a little bit about what he does and how it affects you.
Sure, absolutely. So, my name is Oscar Capel. If you guys don't know already or haven't seen me before, I am an independent associate with Legal Shield and ID Shields. And what we do, protect individuals, families, and businesses. One of the things that a story I told, I believe a few weeks ago, a guy got stopped by the police. As usual, you're thinking they're going to ask you for license and registration and whatever problem they see. But they came with the guns out, made the guy get out face down on the ground. Like I said, guns out, handcuffed behind his back. He's trying to figure out what's going on. The problem was this: his identity was stolen. It was used to commit a felony, and he was wanted. And that's the way he found out his identity was stolen. Much better way to get that done is to make sure that you have a service that is checking the internet, checking court records, checking everything that has all the little numbers that point to us. See, there when people say, "Oh, they can steal my identity," I don't care. They're thinking about financial. Um, what they're stealing, and there's billions of records being stolen, is the little numbers that point to us: our social security number, our driver's license, our insurance card. I mean, if someone uses our insurance card to get medical treatment, their information goes on the permanent records and what insurance companies use to determine your rates, the MIB. Um, a mix up like that in a situation where you're in a hospital under emergency situation, if they don't have the right blood type on there, or if there are two blood types, like I've heard, two blood types on somebody's medical record, those moments can be the difference between life and death. So it's very important to make sure that your identity is protected. Anything that happens, you should know about it, and then you should have what we have is licensed private investigators to actually do the restoration. You sign a limited power of attorney, let them take over and do the restoration. It's got to be done that way. Otherwise, it's tens of thousands of dollars and maybe years to get your identity fixed again. The other thing we do through our line of sponsorship is we donate money to Our Rescue. And Our Rescue is a nonprofit that goes out and looks for kids that are being trafficked. They look for people that are selling sexually explicit information on the internet. They lend police forces dogs that are able to sniff out um, electronic equipment like hard drives and thumb drives with explicit material on it. So they're there to make sure that our kids are safe, and this trafficking gets to stop. There, Phil is scrolling right now through the website. Ourrescue.org is the website, and we are having. Uh, First of all, July 30th is Stand Up for Children Day, the anti trafficking day all around the world. On the July 28th, we are going to be having something up in Rockland County. Can I share my screen? How do I do that? How do you share screen on this on this platform? If I can't do it, all right, I'll figure it out. Anyway, we are having a stand up for our kids on July 28th in Rockland County. If you'd like more information, if you'd like to show up and help spread the word, my number is 646 578 7097. Send me a text, give me a call, and let's see what we can do to help our kids stay safe in the US and around the world. Phil, back to you.
I love it. Thank you very much, Oscar, for being a part of that. I think that that is fantastic stuff. OUR Rescue is doing God's work, and we got to help them stop this thing. It is way out of control, and would really love to see all of us participate in making sure that OUR Rescue is successful. They have a training education page, in case you want to identify, if you're not sure somebody in your neighborhood is being prepared for trafficking or whatever. They have the equipment for the education for that. So, very excited about that. Now, we're going to introduce our guest. And of course, we're very excited to have Miss Claudia Marulanda to join us. Hey, Claudia, how are you?
Hi, I'm excited to see you guys again
Again,
today.
Yes, I know. It's like we're following you or you're following us. I'm not sure how this dynamic is working, but almost like everywhere you go, we go.
I think
And
that's called stalking.
oh, is that
I
what
don't
it is?
know because today is my turn, but sometimes it's you guys. So,
It's the Mutual Stalking Society.
If you would like to join the secret society of stalkers, follow each other all over the internet.
yes, yes, yes,
It's
yes.
good to have you, Claudia. Great to see you again. Just please take a couple seconds and introduce yourself by talking a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so my name is Claudia Marulanda. I am a portrait artist and workshop facilitator. And what I do is that I help those that are feeling stressed or overwhelmed or sort of feeling lost to get back into their creativity, that creative expression, so they can not only unload that emotional stress, but also envision a better version of themselves. So my work is focused on helping people start seeing that better version, start feeling hopeful, and move into a happy place. And that's the gist of what I do outside, and I do this through what I call expressive workshops, painting events. And outside of that, I love painting. So I do uh, portraits, commission portraits, and anything relating to women mostly.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Claudia. What's great is we had you on this morning on the Power Breakfast, and I thought the subject was so powerful that you're spreading the good news on and talking to people about is self-talk, right? What are
Perfect.
some things you say to yourself that you shouldn't, and how do you pull back away from the dark side per se of those kind of conversations? And you share some really wonderful information on how you do that. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So basically, the whole topic was about how what we're saying is really expressing that image that we have of ourselves, basically, that self image. So a lot of us don't realize, and I'm talking from my experience as well. A couple of years ago, I didn't know anything about self awareness, I didn't know anything about self image. Like, what is that? But when we say things, we're really expressing how we perceive ourselves, how we see ourselves. And that image that we have of ourselves affect everything we do. It shapes our lives. It shapes how successful, or it shapes, how much of a miserable life, let's say, we have. So we really need to start like digging in, kind of like going within, seeing how we perceive ourselves so we can actually improve. So I do it in my workshops. I have an art program, a 7-week program that is called Uncover the Goddess Within, Fuse Your Self Portrait. And the purpose is to create this mixed media conceptual portrait that it's a fun project, but at the same time, is to go and see what is that image that you have of yourself and how do you want to improve it? Like, what do you want to see in the future? Kind of like what you call a vision board, but this is like of your inner self, and you express it, because once you improve that image, your life improves. So when you were talking about self-talk, um, we were saying something like, when we say like, I can't do this, why my life is so miserable, why all these bad things happen to me, or I'm stupid, I'm not good enough. That self-talk is in direct relation to how you perceive yourself. So there's way to change that, and art helps, because art is a way to not only engage in your creativity but also to expand your imagination, to be able to use your imagination in a better way, to really start thinking and analyzing, if this is not helping me, how can I create a new story? So that's kind of like the gist of how art can help improve that self-image.
Wow. That is so interesting because I think what you're helping people do is take what's in here and like put it on paper so they can see it, right? And it's different. I think it's different when you're doing work like that and you actually draw something and you might think, well, I'm not a great artist or whatever, but after you're done, you kind of get a feeling like you've just put yourself on paper, right? Have you had what kind of reaction have you had from people that kind of like cross that?
So, to give you an example, and this is something that slowly I've been discovering as I work with women. So it's not, when we talk about like, oh, I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to paint, I can't do that. It's not really about knowing how to draw, knowing how to paint, because I don't consider myself a teacher per se. My whole thing is helping people engage in those future emotions that are going to move them forward, but it's about the process. So I had this girl that she came in. So in this program, we play with different mediums. So it's all about playing, learning, and unlearning as well. So we were using watercolors, and what I love about watercolors is that if you add enough water, you let the colors run, they do their own thing. You don't really have control. So you actually have to let go of the control. So we did an exercise where I create circles and I ask them to let the water run around it, and just feel, like what's coming up for them.
Mm,
So, and then I told him, if it's not moving enough, maybe you want to move the paper a little bit. So I guess she moved the paper a lot, and a piece of that, a little bit of that water with color went through a circle. So it wasn't supposed to do that. And she realized how it upset her. And she's like, oh my God, like she knew that she was a very controlling person. Like everyone, this is what she told me. Like everyone has told her she needs to let go of control. She needs people to, do their own thing as well. But not until she had that experience with
mm,
herself, she was able to understand how it was affecting her life. So that's my purpose, to help people go within, because people will tell us what they see in us or tell us how to do things, but we don't really listen. We don't really care, right? We're like, whatever. But not until we have that experience ourselves, we don't change or we don't do something about it. So that's one of the aspects of the project, to get people to be with themselves. I'm not a therapist, just to put it out there. but I'm there to create that space, guide them in what to do, and let them be with themselves and just discover more of who they are and what's happening and what do they need to work on, because most of us, we have a lot to work on. So that's the whole idea, and at the same time is also working on that inner self image, how they perceive themselves.
Yeah, you say you're not a therapist, but you are doing therapy, and without the therapy license, that but people do sound therapy, they do animal therapy, they there are these different things that you can use to discover yourself, to like you said, she's like, oh my god, I'm trying to control water now and it's not working. Maybe I should step back and let things happen. My question and I had is like, how many of the people you work with started out saying, I can't draw, I can't do art, and all of a sudden when they're done, it looks like something in your background. And I've seen the things that you show us, and I'm like, how many of these people started out saying, I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to, and then all of a sudden they let go and art happens.
I'll say half of them. I had one girl, and actually, you might know her, Jill. She's like, I haven't done any art since I was a kid. I don't do art, but she's very much into her self development, her self growth. So she joined to do her future self portrait, and she's a very hands-on person, and she's all about learning and getting better. So she used each of the projects. So every week is a 7 week program. So every week we go, we review different things. We go over color pencils, soft pastels, watercolors. So I teach them basics, how to use them. Then we do that, an exercise for them to explore themselves, and then at the end they put together their portraits, and we do this online, so I'm not there to help them. They're on their own at home doing it. And it's amazing, like what they come up and what they do and how beautiful. I do give them a template of a face just to start with that, but it's beautiful because I believe, and this is my opinion, that we're all artists, and we just need to allow ourselves to express that. It's kind of like within, just the same way we repress who we are, and we need to allow ourselves to be who we truly are. We that creative side comes out because we're creative in different ways, but when we have the opportunity to be creative within the arts, if we're in that nice flow state that we're relaxed and we're letting ourselves just be, it comes out, and I seen it in their work. So, and they're amazed, and I'm amazed also just seeing, like what they do. I mean, it makes me happy just seeing what they do.
Yeah, I've seen and I don't know if you can pull up some of the slides you had from this morning, but that it's incredible artwork, and from people that probably say, I don't know how to do, I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to do this. You never know until you start it. Again, the therapy in there is like, who put what voice in your head put that limitation on you, and whose voice is that is putting that limitation on you.
And I'm gonna try to look for it right now. And those limitations, it comes from childhood. And unfortunately, this is how we carry trauma with ourselves, because whatever our parents learn, whatever, oh, you have, that's my website, but I don't have any of their work there. um, I'm looking at it. So we learn all these beliefs, all these limitations from childhood. A child might be, and I'm trying to think and look. So a child might create something, and then the parent or the teacher might say, oh, that doesn't look good, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't try that. Then they start thinking, I'm not good enough. So I've worked with kids also. I I was working with kids during the summer program, and this kid didn't want to do any of the art. He was like really resistant to it. So one day in the lunchroom, we were with the gym teacher, and he was very close to him. And we started talking, and then I took advantage of that moment, and I told him, hey, and I don't remember his name, let's just say John. John doesn't want to do any art in my class. Like, I don't know what's wrong with him. Like what's happening? So then he got a little embarrassed, and then he promised the teacher that he was going to try. And he didn't want to try because it was the fear of what the other kids would say. We were doing like cubes, like actually 3D projects. And even though he was probably, I'm guessing, 7, 8 years old, he didn't know how to hold a ruler. So I showed him how to do it. I was like, you just got to do this, you got to do that. And then he created the cube. And then he ended up like wanting to do a whole bunch of cubes because he was so excited that he got it right. So we all have this fear of not doing something, of not wanting to do something because we don't know how to do it. I mean, we have that fear as adults. So is if kids have parents that tell them it's okay if you don't do it well, it's okay, you just got to try it, you got to allow yourself to make mistakes, then that's going to support them, and that's going to support us as adults. And that's actually what I bring to adults as well, because we carry that. I carry it, and I know it, and I understand it, and it helps push myself to move forward. But there are times that it still keeps me, it holds me back from doing the things that I actually desire, because I'm like, I don't know how to do it. So it's, we need to like start from childhood, teaching the kids, so we don't carry those limiting beliefs. At the end of the day, it's all limiting beliefs that are holding us back from what we want to do. And I know earlier, Oscar, you were talking about the brain, because our brain is created to keep us safe. So it is, every time we go into that unknown space, into something new, it is going to tell us like, let's hold on, let's not go there because it's not safe. So with that understanding, we really need to push ourselves and allow ourselves to just go and explore. And that's something that we do through art, is a very gentle way to explore what's possible. You explore it on paper, and then you allow yourself to explore in other areas of your life as well.
You,
So
you,
I
you know what? You know what? I was as I'm sitting here and listening. Claudia, um, I realize what you do is
One.
you're helping people identify a problem. You may not be able to help them completely, like psychologically, have therapy with them. But in the process of what you're doing, discovery is important. There's no way for us to fix a problem if you don't identify it as a problem. Like the lady that found out, like she discovered, nobody said, let's have a kumbaya moment with her and sit down and tell her,
what are
you
your
know,
limitations? What?
seven people surround her and go, you're controlling, you need to stop, right? It was more like in the process of, it's in the gentle process of her creation, she realized her mortality and said, wow, I'm really controlling, right? Even kind of discovering the thing that she couldn't control. And so I think that's a great awakening for her, because now if she has therapy, she can talk to somebody about that. Why, like, as to the whys, why is that? Why
Why
do
am
I?
I so controlling? Why
Why
do
exactly? What's causing me to want to control the wind and where it blows and
control
how it
water?
blows?
I
Who
want to
it
control
blows
water.
to, and when it rains, it shouldn't rain today. It's a beautiful day. It shouldn't rain. You can't control none of those things, right? And so it's like when you kind of like have to come to that place of reality. For instance, I'm giving you a chance to pull your stuff up.
I
So
pulled it up, but I don't know how to share it.
Yeah, I don't know how to share on this platform. It's
let me see. I don't see it. I don't see it. It's not. It's not. It's not
Oh,
popping.
it says share screen. Do you want me to try it?
Yes, please do that. Share screen. Yes.
Okay, I don't know if anything's coming up. Okay.
Yeah, share screen. So, what I'm saying is, like, it's a special thing when you can subliminally show people where they are without even like.
You sneak in through the back door to find out the problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, wow, I did not know I had that issue. Or even if somebody told me, my best friend told me that, but she's my best friend, so I don't listen to her. And then she discovers it, like the seriousness of it. There
Yeah.
you go. There's your art.
Yeah, so those are from the Uncover the Goddess Within Future Self Portrait. So I would say the first one, she's actually a coach and she's more of a writer. And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so fearful," and look at that, it's like so beautiful. But they're able to create it because they allowed themselves. I gave them that space to trust also in what they can do, and that's my job, not only guiding them to explore who they are and what is it, what's that new self image they want to create, but I also guide them through the art because that's what I do as an artist. So any questions, I give them examples of how to make a flower, or I give them I forgot what it's called, kind of like cutouts of butterflies or things, or I encourage them to do like collages, like if they find something, like you'll see the last one, she got some couple of butterflies. So I encourage them to just think outside the box and just get creative, use that imagination. Let's start, turning that imagination for something that is more useful. Like someone on this TED talk, he talks about, building up that imagination muscle. It's something that the more you practice it, the better it gets. I love the middle one because she wanted to see herself more fierce and she added dragon wings. And I was like, okay, I've never seen, like dragon wings. And I thought that was really clever. And the last one I love also because she wants to really, to her it was more about self-acceptance, having a big heart, loving herself, and knowing that she's okay with her age. So she added the, I think it's frown lines, I forgot what they're called, but she wanted to add those lines to represent that she loves herself no matter what age she is. She's not a young kid anymore, but she still accepts and loves herself. So that's what they got. And do you want me to share a little bit of the painting pictures?
Yes, yes. I was just about to say that. Of course, yes.
Okay, so let me share this. Okay, so I told you there's this lady that has been very helpful to me. She has a business and she's seen a little bit of the Uncover the Goddess Within Future Self Portrait. So she was asking me, Claudia, can you do that in a painting event for my staff? So I was like, sure. So she's the one that came up with the idea, and I was like, oh my god, how do I get people to paint a future self portrait in 2 hours? And we did it. It came out fantastic. Of course, the first time there's always going to be little things happening, but everyone loved it. Everyone was happy. I was even more happy. If people are happy, I'm happy. So basically, this is like a short, super short, express version of it. I give people the templates and I give them prompts, basically questions to get them through it. I also use, like colors connect to emotions. So I invite them to connect colors to emotions. Like, if they want to feel more bold, they'll use red or something like that. So the colors within the portraits have meaning as well. And for me, like, and unfortunately, the first one, we run over time, but I wanted her to finish hers. But she created like this whole forest and waterfalls around her, and I thought, I was like, how magnificent is this? And this isn't someone that considers herself an artist either. She just, I don't know, it just came out of her. She didn't consider herself to be an artist, but she did it. So, but I'm there always to guide them. If they need support with something, they do it. But the idea is for them to imagine where they want to be, to envision that better place, because I just want people to engage in those good feelings that help us move forward. That's I learned that from Dr. Joe Dispenza. His work is about focusing and engaging in future emotions. So that's what I do. And then they have this memory, of how they want to perceive themselves, and I think it's amazing. It's their own art. They don't have to buy art from anyone unless they want me to do a portrait.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it all, is like people get to dig into just parts of them subconsciously. Like, no, that's why children's art is so important, because sometimes children draw what they're experiencing at home, and it
Yes.
tells a story that they can't say in words. They can't describe how they feel when mommy and daddy fights. So they draw a picture of how they feel when mommy and daddy fights, and it tells the full story, you know?
Well,
I gotta say,
that's
my mother tells me that one day I come home with a piece of paper with like a million little circles all over it, just scribble. The whole page was just one big scribble. And she's like, okay, not to make me feel bad. This is nice. What is it? And I said, they told us to draw a house. And she says, well, I don't see the house. And I said, no, because the smoke from the chimney is covering. So, so I was either a genius or just completely out of my mind as a small child.
Right. No, but it's amazing. It's how we see the world. It's perception, right? I mean,
it
and
is.
that's what I think, we get disconnected from, is our perspective. Is almost like what we have accepted as normal, is subconsciously our cage, and I always say this, like, the life we're living right now is based on how we perceive ourselves and how we perceive the world, right? How's the world going to
Mhm.
receive us? How we perceive ourselves. So we enter a room and we paint this picture to folks as to how to receive us. And when they interpret what we've painted, we like, I don't like how people are treating me. Well, who painted the picture, right? I feel, some of the things is about giving and receiving. And
Mhm.
so when you paint a picture of yourself as, I'm weak and I don't have a vision of myself, I don't know where I'm going, anything can happen. The person that is like a tiger or a lion in the room is going to be like, okay, this person is either irrelevant or this person needs to be subservient to me. So, hey, can you go get me a cup of coffee? Sure, I can get you a cup of coffee. Hey, I need some of this paperwork done. Can you get this paperwork done? Oh, yeah, sure, because you see yourself as the ant in the room. They see themselves as the lion in the room. And so, just like in the jungle, everybody starts operating the way they see themselves, right? If you're the gazelle,
Yes.
then you're gonna be running from everything. You know, if you are the anteater, you're gonna be afraid of everything. Everything is going the wind blows east. Oh my God, I need to go put my head in a hole or something. We all take on these personas because that's how we see ourselves in the world. And I do compare it to the jungle because it is just like that. If you perceive yourself as a giraffe, you're high above everything else, right? In
Mhm.
perception, you're like, yeah, I can see everything, I know everything, I know all, I see all, But then the lion comes along and you're running.
I guess
The neck goes flying.
growing up in the Bronx, I think I grew up being a porcupine. And I'll just leave that there.
Or even the elephant. Think about the elephant. The elephant
I
is the
can't think of
biggest,
an animal for
strongest.
myself.
The elephant is the biggest, strongest animal in the jungle, but yet it runs from. It hears a noise and it starts to run. Like, you're the biggest dude right here.
Well,
Yeah.
again, to go back to what Marulanda was Claudia was saying earlier, you're affected by what you learn as a child. They'll take an elephant as a little baby elephant and train them by putting a giant chain on them and chaining them to a tree. And as they get bigger and bigger, the chain gets smaller and the stake gets smaller. And you can literally stop this giant elephant from moving by putting a little chain and a stick in the ground, because they're like, oh yeah, I can't move. But if that elephant ever moves that stake once, they never go back.
Hmm.
And that's exactly when we get to see, like the lady with the watercolor, when she got to understand that you can't go back. You already discover that aspect of you. Like, now you know, either you're going to move forward with it, or like what's going to happen, but you really can't go back to being blind to it. You already know it, and if you choose to do nothing, that's on you.
That's on
So
you. Yeah, yeah,
that's the
absolutely.
thing. But I like what you said, about art telling a story, and art tells stories, and I can see it just even when I do coloring workshops. Like, I can see when people are very detailed with their colors, they take their time, they want to be perfect. I'm guilty of that because I can be very, I will say, anal. I can be very anal, like it has to be perfect. And for me, it's like I love it when I see women that they just like color, and this is adults, not just kids, coloring outside the lines, and they're like, look, it's done, it's beautiful, it's perfect. I'm like, I love that because that tells me, that's what I see, what I perceive is that they're very free, of themselves, of what other people think. They're happy with it, and that is it. They don't need to care about anyone else. So that gives me a good sense of who they are. But when I see people who are very tight, that it has to be perfect. I remember once this girl told me she didn't want to try any shading in the face because she was like, if it comes out bad, I'm going to be upset. So actually, I did have to do a little pushing on that, because it is like, why is it going to make you upset? Like, what's happening here? Like, what's the case? And she explained the whole thing, and I was like, okay, but do you understand that if it doesn't come out right, you can actually print the page again, because this is done online. You can print it again and try it again. This is how we learn. And then it kind of like opened her up a little, but I think we just been limited by all those beliefs that we learned as kids, that we got to be perfect, that we got to do things right, or otherwise we're not good enough. And I think as adults, with the people that I work, is about unlearning some of that so they can actually be free and just feel happier.
I think
You
that
know,
the
Claudia,
perfection.
we've come to the end of our program, and I would love for you to kind of share with folks, first of all, how to kind of get you into your sessions and your classes, and also what's your message to them?
My message
Yes.
my message is to allow yourself to let that inner child out, to play, to explore. There's nothing wrong with just exploring on paper. Play with crayons, play with soft pastels, watercolors, make a mess, and be that child again, because that is going to connect us to our true self, and it's really going to help us discover things about ourselves. And people can find me here on LinkedIn. I've been focusing on the painting events. One of the things that I'm working on more is how do I create these events for companies? Because a lot of companies that care about their employees, they want to show appreciation. So this is a way to get my message out, get people to start reflecting on the things that they want, and getting to that journey of self-discovery. I am going to start hosting my 7-week program again. Probably in 2 months, I'll start sharing that. But for now, I do have a free coloring workshop that I do uh, twice a month. This month, I actually canceling the one next week because I'm going to be at Bloomingdale's. But I do that. It's a free coloring workshop, and people can come and color. And I use prompts, and we talk about different emotions, and I help them just engage in that thinking to uh, reframe, or just explore, or just like unload that stress. So it's a good way to for us to get to know each other, and then then they can get to know more as they're there with me.
Awesome, awesome. Can we find this on marulandaart.com? Is that information there?
Marulandaart.com. Yes, I have some information on my workshops. Eventually, I need to update my website, but there should be enough information. And anyone that wants to go there, they can contact me, send me an email, and I'm always happy to talk to people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Claudia. Really appreciate that. Do you have anything else to say, Oscar?
Um, Unusually quiet today.
Wow. Can we have
I'm
more days like that,
I'm
please?
stuck. No, that's it. You get one day a year. That's it. You just have
One
to be
day.
there today. Okay.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing your silence with us, sir. Really appreciate the silence. Thank you so much. Anyway, thank you
Well,
everybody for watching. Thank you for being
thank you for
part.
inviting me.
Oh, you are amazing. We appreciate you and what you do. And if you'd like to know more about how to be a part of the PNN family, go to pnnstationplus.com. Just download the app in your app store, Phoenix National Network, and you'll be able to find everything there. Take care, everybody, and peace.